Taxand Tax Updates. Disclaimer: the following information is intended only to be a guide. It must not be relied on in or applied to specific situations without previously seeking proper professional advice. Changes to tax audit provisions. The government issued Minister of Finance Regulation No. 15 Year 2025 or MOF Regulation 15/2025 regarding tax audit, which came into effect on February 14, 2025. The issuance of MOF Regulation 15/2025 amends several provisions regulating tax audit procedures and simplification by combining two previous regulations, specifically MOF Regulation No. 17/PMK.03/2013 on audit procedures and MOF Regulation No. 256/PMK.03/2014 on procedures for land and building tax audit and verification. Here are some of the changes stipulated in MOF Regulation 15 of 2025. 1. Audit type. A. The audit to test compliance, which was previously conducted by the types of field audit and office audit, was amended to be conducted by type. 1. Comprehensive audit. An in-depth audit to test compliance with the fulfillment of tax obligations covering all items in the tax return and/or tax object notification letter. 2. Focused audit. An in-depth audit to test compliance with the fulfillment of tax obligations that focus on one or several items in the tax return and/or tax object notification letter. 3. Specific audit. A simple audit to test compliance with the fulfillment of tax obligations carried out specifically on one or several items in the tax return and/or tax object notification letter, data, or certain tax obligations. B. Audit for other purposes. An audit conducted in the context of implementing certain provisions of laws and regulations in the field of taxation in the form of determining, matching, fulfilling obligations based on statutory provisions, or collecting materials related to the purpose of the audit. 2. Audit period. An audit to test compliance consists of the testing period being set for a maximum of A. 5 months for comprehensive audit, B. 3 months for focused audit, C. 1 month for specific audit, which commences from the delivery of the tax audit notification letter until the tax audit findings notification letter is delivered. However, in the case of audit for taxpayers in a group indicated to have financial transaction engineering, the audit period may be extended for a maximum of 4 months. The period of closing conference of audit results and reporting is for a maximum of 30 working days from the date the tax audit findings notification letter is delivered to the date of the audit result report. There is an exception for specific audit in the event that there is concrete data which causes the tax payable to not be paid or to be underpaid. The process is conducted in a maximum audit period of 10 working days, and the period of the closing conference of audit result and reporting is within 10 working days. Meanwhile, the audit for other purposes is carried out within a maximum period of 4 months from the delivery of the tax audit notification letter to the date of the audit result report. 3. Audit criteria. There are additional audit criteria to test compliance specifically against other parties who do not carry out tax withholding, collection, payment, and/or reporting obligations in accordance with Article 32A, Paragraph 1 of the General Tax Provisions and Procedures Law. Furthermore, the number of audit criteria for other purposes has also increased from 12 to 25, with the addition of, amongst others, determination of taxpayers as employers that are located in certain areas, completion of mutual agreement procedures, completion of advanced pricing agreement applications, audit compliance with the implementation of the Financial Information Access Law, determination of the amount of costs at the exploration stage, etc. 4. Declining an audit. In the event that the taxpayer declines to be audited, the audit rejection declaration letter must be submitted within a maximum period of 7 days after the tax audit notification letter is delivered. If the rejection is made to an audit that was intended to test compliance, the tax auditor may make an official tax determination or propose a preliminary evidence audit if there are indications of criminal acts in the field of taxation. Meanwhile, in the case of an audit for other purposes, the taxpayer's rejection may be used as a basis for consideration or decision of the Director General of Taxes, in accordance with the purpose of the audit. 5. Tax auditor meeting with the taxpayer. The meeting between the tax auditor and the taxpayer after the delivery of the tax audit notification letter can be conducted face-to-face or through video conference online. If the meeting is conducted online, the taxpayer must sign the minutes of the meeting result and submit it back to the tax auditor within a maximum period of 5 working days since the minutes are delivered. If the minutes of meeting result is not signed or submitted within such period, the taxpayer shall be deemed to have declined to sign the minutes of meeting results. 6. Request for books, records, and/or documents. Taxpayers are obliged to fulfill the request letter for books, records, and/or documents within 1 month at the latest since the request letter is delivered by the tax auditor. Books, records, and/or documents submitted after the period of 1 month shall be deemed to not have been provided during the audit. However, there is an exception if the requested books, records, and/or documents have not been obtained by the taxpayer from a third party. They may be submitted until before the minutes of the closing conference of audit result is signed. 7. Discussion of temporary findings. There is a new procedure in the audit process to test compliance, which is the tax auditor's obligation to conduct a discussion of temporary findings with the taxpayer with a list of temporary findings attached prior to the submission of the tax audit findings notification letter, except in the case of a specific audit. The discussion of temporary findings is conducted within a maximum of 1 month before the testing period ends. 8. Deadline for submission of the response to the tax audit findings notification letter. Taxpayers are required to provide a written response to the tax audit findings notification letter by no later than 5 working days since the date of the tax audit findings notification letter receipt, without any extension allowance. The period is shorter than the previous regulation, which was 7 working days with possible extension through the submission of a written notification for a maximum of 3 working days. In addition, the delivery of the tax audit findings notification letter by the tax auditor and a written response to the tax audit findings notification letter by the taxpayer can now be done electronically, directly, or via fax. Although MOF Regulation 15 of 2025 is effective as of February 10, 2025, for audits initiated prior to the enactment of this regulation, the process of completing the audit is carried out based on the provisions of the previous MOF regulation. Thank you for listening to PB Taxand Tax Updates.